Tobago will be able to enact their own laws which will have effect only on that island. This, according to Planning and Development Minister Camille Robinson-Regis, is one of the major changes being proposed as the lower house began debate on the Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020. Sunil Lalla has the details.
For the first time, Tobago could have the power to enact its own laws, but Planning Minister Camille Robinson-Regis says if there are any inconsistencies, the national law will take precedence.
These laws will have effect exclusively in Tobago and will require presidential assent to have effect. However, Madam Speaker, Tobago Acts cannot amend laws passed by the National Parliament.
Additionally, the island will not be able to make their own macroeconomic policies, but according to the minister, they would be able to borrow but would need approval for external borrowing since there is focus on central government when borrowing internationally.
The legislation, therefore, recommends that any such external borrowing undertaken by the Tobago Island government should be subject to the approval of the Minister of Finance.
A Tobago fund will also be established to consist of monies for use for Tobago and other monies that they may collect, earn or through grants. Mrs. Robinson-Regis adds that an annual allocation for Tobago has also been agreed upon.
The ministry recommended a minimum allocation of 6.8% of the national budget based on Tobago's population size, land mass, and geographical challenges.
As it relates to the maritime border, the minister says after expert advice, this cannot be separated since it could mean an act of separation from both islands.
We propose that Tobago's administrative responsibility for marine waters should extend to a distance of 11 nautical miles from the low water mark of the island of Tobago.
The bill also seeks to repeal the words that Tobago is a ward of Trinidad, since the minister says it has become a source of marginalization and deep pain for Tobago. Mrs. Robinson-Regis says the bill will require a special three-quarter majority in the lower house and two-thirds support in the Senate. She is urging the opposition to support the bill rather than abstaining from voting. Sunil Lalla, TTT News.
The opposition wants government to have more consultation with the people of Tobago on the Tobago Self-Government Bill 2020. Opposition MP RUDRANATH INDARSINGH says despite assurances from government that there was extensive consultation, the UNC is not satisfied that enough voices in Tobago have been heard. Mr. INDARSINGH says several political figures and analysts in Tobago are not in support of the bill in its current form and believes more consultation is needed.
The suggestion of the United National Congress led by Camille Bissessa is go back to the people of Tobago, come back to the people of Trinidad who made submissions to this particular piece of legislation, and let us take it forward in the interest of Trinidad and in the interest of Tobago.
Mr. INDARSINGH says the opposition during the Joint Select Committee stage brought up concerns with consultation, but claims that they were not met with a favorable response.
One member said, what you want us to do? Stop the work of the committee and get on a plane now and go to Tobago? That was the arrogance, that was the contempt that he was spoken down to in terms of the deliberation and the work of the committee.
Mr. INDARSINGH says it is not the UNC that is not in support of the bill, but various voices in Tobago, and they want continued meaningful consultation on the bill. And just hours before the revised self-governance bill was scheduled to be debated in Parliament, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Ansel Dennis, in a brief address via Facebook on Sunday, made another appeal to legislators to work together to have this long-awaited goal realized.
We need legislation to improve and regulate our tourism sector. We need legislation to protect our natural environment and heritage. We need legislation to establish the necessary environment and incentives to attract further foreign direct investment. We need legislation for the establishment of the framework to exploit our renewable energy resources, which will be an industry by itself.
The Chief Secretary said Tobago also seeks to benefit from the arrangements for the Public Services Commission in Tobago.
This will mean that issues such as the filling of public service vacancies, promotions, and payments of acting and other allowances will be dealt with more speedily. Ultimately, we will be able to build a public service here in Tobago that will deliver to the people of Tobago in a more responsive and effective manner.
In closing his 15-minute address, the Chief Secretary noted that while there are shortfalls in the bill, solutions can be found rather than restarting the 40-year process. He urged the persons to choose progress over perfection. While various Assemblymen, including Chief Secretary Ansel Dennis, journeyed to Trinidad to witness the historic parliamentary debate on self-governance for Tobago, the Progressive Democratic Patriots Assemblyman chose to decline the invitation. On Sunday via Facebook, Deputy Leader of the party, FARLEY, Augustine, reiterated their belief that the bill is contrary to the views of Tobagonians.
We will not be part of the masquerade in Port of Spain. Because if we said to you at the Joint Select Committee, and when I say we, I'm not saying PDP, I'm saying Tobago, because I said it, Mr. Charles said it, Nikosi said it, we all said it. We said, look, give us 2 to 3 weeks or so. Let us sit down in Tobago and we will fix the flaws in the bill for you. You rejected the offer. You still put what you want on the table. What are you inviting me to Trinidad to do?